the grass isn't always greener on the other side. So was the story of Dr. Thomas, a vibrant man who walked the Sahara Desert to live. Launch of a Youth Manifesto, indicating for the first time a clear commitment to the youth of Ghana, enshrined in a social contract with the youth of Ghana. And so to be here again this afternoon on a youth empowerment program tells me that change is happening and change will come. Let's give ourselves a round of applause. I'll now read the speech. Nana Chair, Honorable Ministers, politicians, members of Parliament, distinguished traditional and religious leaders, our esteemed development partners, and protocol observed, if I may stand on the existing protocols. I bring you warm felicitations from the President, John Dramani Mahama, and Mr. Julius Deborah, his Chief of Staff. Mr. Deborah was billed to deliver this keynote, but as many of you would know now, he is currently attending the United Nations General Assembly meetings in New York as part of the President's delegation. He therefore extends his apologies. I now do have the Herculean task of delivering his speech. Alas, all errors will remain mine. Today, VODEC Africa has gathered the critical mass of emerging, established, and aspiring leaders on this Founders' Day holiday to attempt to answer a question. Is there enough youth empowerment as the gateway to sustainable economic development? I wish you all luck in answering that question, because my question, I believe, is an easier one, and it reads: building an inclusive economy, ensuring equal opportunities for all citizens. It is indeed an auspicious day to be having this exact conversation 116 years after the birth of Osagyefo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, 54 years after the death of Dr. Kwame Nkrumah at the age of 62, 68 years after Ghana's independence. In 2 years, Ghana would achieve 70. Where are we as a country? Osagyefo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah's life work emphasized that true progress is measured by improvements in people's lives and well-being, particularly through the number of children who are in school and who are receiving quality, relevant education. He also believed that education should include practical, scientific, and technological training using mass communication to spread its benefits in the populations, and that learning to be an independent state comes from being one. Today, we must also ask, has the African proven he is capable of managing his own affairs? Has he? Answer to this particular question is honorable. Does it remain no or yes? I'll get it later. Are we anywhere close to the self-actualization that Osagyefo envisaged? And yes, is our progress inclusive enough of the stories, of the images, and of the realities of the diversity that makes us a unit? Are all citizens equal before opportunities? Today also, world leaders have gathered in their numbers at the 80th UN General Assembly in New York to yet again commit to finding solutions to the world's complex problems. And where today, President Mahama will be launching the Accra Resets in New York to champion a new global governance for health and development. Because indeed, our transformation will elude us if we do not pause, look, listen, and reset. President John Dramani Mahama makes a number of assumptions, and permit me to translate those into this room. That the many of you who have gathered here in this room see yourselves as emerging leaders, as established leaders, as aspiring leaders even. That you in this room recognize that leadership is a responsibility and a duty that requires a constant search for knowledge, for skills, for networking, and sharing same through platforms like this. Indeed, these platforms are expected to not only inspire us from the brilliant stories of those that have walked the path that you today see yourself walking, but it's also to motivate us to act. Because inspiration alone is never enough until you self-motivate yourself to act. Again, as we have been told by one cultural anthropologist, never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, concerned citizens can change the world. Indeed, it is the only thing that ever has. And so you, the critical mass sitting in this room, you are those that will change the world if you put your mind to it. President John Dramani Mahama is pursuing a bold reset agenda anchored on jobs, on accountability, and shared prosperity. At the vision's core is to address the youth empowerment challenge for growth and prosperity that fails to carry every Ghanaian along, especially young people, in all of our diversity, is unsustainable, even risky. There is a global, a continental, and a local context that makes it imperative that African countries especially prioritize youth empowerment. This is a context that we are all used to, but permit me to just remind us of how stark the image and the story is. Globally, according to the United Nations, there are about 1.3 billion youth, young people, between the age brackets of 15 to 24. In Ghana, however, our youth bracket is 15 to 35 and above. I know of some 35s who are still living in their parents' home. So let's stick with the UN benchmark. 16% of the world's population is young as of 2024. 64.9 million youth are unemployed. Take a minute and think about what that means. 64.9 million youth. And as we always know, statistics don't always capture those who remain in the fragments of society that statistics don't capture. 1 in 5 young people were NEET in 2023. NEET means they were not in employment, they were not in education, and they were not in any form of training, aka they were idle. And as we always say, the devil finds, I know you're hungry, but please try, okay? Very well. So here we are, in the face of such worrying statistics, we hear that Africa remains the world's youngest region. 60 to 70% are under the age of 30. By 2050, About 1 in 3 of the world's young people will be African, projected to exceed 830 million people. Opportunity, because with the right investment, there will be a demographic gain to the GDPs and to the GNPs of our various countries. Threats, because largely this youth remains generally non-educated, miseducated, undereducated, low-skilled, unemployed, underemployed. In Ghana, according to the Ghana Statistical Service, 57% of the population is under 25. Think about it again. Last year, before that, many of you have friends who have graduated from universities and tertiary institutions for the past 5 years who are still home. Harsh reality. Last year, 1.9 million Ghanaian youth were reported to be neat, not in employment, not in education, not in any form of training, aka idling. An inclusive economy, therefore, is one that's deliberately structured to guarantee equitable participation and shared prosperity for all citizens. It is not measured by the GDP growth of a country, but by its ability to create dignified jobs for its young people, expand opportunities for women, protect the vulnerable and persons who are differently abled, and ensures justice in the distribution of national resources. The collective value of any economy is therefore a sum of its productive citizens and care for its most vulnerable. As a player within the sub-region and globally, Ghana would benefit more if our people are strengthened to produce domestically in terms of domestic productivity. If we are able to retain value across our supply chains and reduce dependency on imports. As His Excellency President Mahama has consistently emphasized, we must be interested in the health of our national product, our gross national product, just as we are interested in our GDP, which truly reflects the participation of Ghanaians in the wealth creation of our nation, and that ought to see many of us at the commanding heights of our economy. What are the proposed solutions to the question about the youth? It describes itself as a social democratic government, one that believes in egalitarian principles of equity and equality, and the spread of the gains of prosperity across regions, across cities, across ethnic religious groups, that all of us belong to this country, and all of us deserve to live in this country in dignity. So, the youth are thus at the heart of President Mahama's reset agenda. From the establishment of a dedicated youth ministry, to the proposed 24-hour economy, to the National Apprenticeship Program and the Ejumora Program, to the Youth Farm Bank Project, to youth employment and youth entrepreneurship programs, to climate resilient agricultural initiatives, to the 1 million coders program, to the popular no-fee stress policy, and the big push infrastructure agenda. Government is ensuring that Ghanaians not only benefit from growth, but also take ownership of the commanding heights of our economy. When the Ministry of Youth was set up, it was recognized by His Excellency the President that without such focus, Ghana would not derive its necessary gains from this demographic. So the Youth Ministry was set up and 4 main entities were put under it, namely the Youth Employment Agency, the National Youth Authority, the National Service Authority, and the National Entrepreneurship and Innovation Program. There are also a number of youth programs that sit in various ministries, departments, and agencies, all asking that question: are our youth empowered enough? But most importantly, what must we do as a matter of urgency? What can we do with restricted budgets? As we speak, only 5,000 youth have been recruited under the first fire service assistance model. 5,000 have been recruited under the prison service assistance model. 12,000 youth trained and graduated under the police service community protection assistance. 6,000 youth have been recruited under the community medical first responders program. When we went on air online to recruit the Islamic teachers, we announced that we are going to recruit 3,000 for this year. My brothers and sisters, 17,000 Islamic teachers applied for 3,000 slots. That is the reality of the young people's situation. No government of conscience can ever gloss over what this picture portends. And that is why His Excellency continued to commit to ensuring that these programs must work, because doing nothing is not an option. In the face of these numbers, government must find ways to engage these young people. We're not talking about those of you who are in school, who are near graduation, who are going to go into the job market, who face uncertain future. Unless we pause, we look, we reset, and we ask ourselves the questions that many speakers have thrown at us this morning and this afternoon. Flagship youth empowerment programs. Distinguished young leaders, Nana Chair. Under President Mahama's Resets Ghana agenda, entrepreneurship is not merely an economic policy, it is the lifeblood of inclusive and sustainable growth. With over 70% of our population under the age of 35, the central question before us is not whether the youth are ready. As the statistics show, and as the interest in these programs show, it tells us that there is interest. So the question is not whether they are ready. The question is whether we as a nation of various stakeholders, of political parties, of traditional leaders, of development partners, citizens, whether we together as a nation share this shared vision of what needs and must happen as of yesterday. And so we're asking again whether this nation is bold enough to allow you, the young people, opportunities to unleash your creative potentials, to fuel Ghana's prosperity by enabling you with the right environment. And that is why His Excellency's government is acted with agency, with vision, and with conviction. And with your cooperation, we believe that we will begin the long, hard road to ensuring greater opportunities for our young people. We have launched the National Apprenticeship Program in Tamale, and it's being scaled across 261 districts of Ghana. This initiative is not simply about skills and dignity, for everyone requires to live and work in a country that dignifies them. It equips thousands of young people with employable abilities, from carpentry to digital repair,
from agro-processing to fashion design, and it ensures that every trainee walks away with some skill, not only a skill, but with a certification, with some capital support, and with the confidence to take on the world. No youth must be left stranded between hope and opportunity. And we invite all of you to come aboard. The Global Program, designed to birth 10,000 youth-led enterprises. I am sure that when many of you hear these numbers, there is a suspicion. My time is almost up? Okay. Suspicion as to, are these numbers real? But having told you the number of young people that apply for these roles, you do know that a lot of young people are looking forward to being employed or giving the opportunity to self-employ themselves. So we'll cut some of these things off. You are not a generation that is waiting for opportunities. You are a generation that is creating them. And we see you and we honor you for that. You are not the jobless of today. You are actually, in you we see the job builders of tomorrow. Government is therefore laying the foundation, but the skyscrapers of innovation must be built by your imagination, by your willingness to step into the ring, by your courage and your refusal to give up. This year in particular, the National Service is also going to deploy 10,000 graduates for the military training program, so we can instill some discipline in those who are willing to submit themselves to the discipline that is required to survive in this century. An inclusive economy cannot exist without ethical leadership and accountable governance. Under the Reset Agenda, therefore, President Mahama has placed discipline, integrity at the center of our national renewal. First, the administration is deepening decentralization, giving real power back to our districts. Second, this government is setting a new tone for ethical leadership. A binding code of conduct for political appointees has been introduced, demanding integrity, modesty, and service. President Mahama has boldly cancelled fuel